Welcome back to Let's Play. Diego here.
Tennessee here.
I lay down to sleep. I heard rumbling through the pillow. It's a volcano. It's a train. It was no doubt in my stomach. That reads like a Jackbox answer.
Yeah. It is the volcano.
I exclaimed, sitting bolt upright. Extremely unlikely, Monsieur Fogg replied. It's more likely to be the automated system for washing linen in the yard outside. As always, my master notices every detail, including every oversight.
You mean a washing machine, sir?
So do we want to go to Muscat?
Didn't they say there was a way to get to Stonetown from here?
I think if we explore, we might be able to find more
Yeah,
routes.
let's explore here first.
And we might even have enough time to go to... Yeah, look at that.
Okay, yeah, let's get over to Stonetown so that we can take an airship.
The British-administered port of Aden was dramatically situated in the crater of a dormant volcano.
What do you mean, administered?
I became obsessed with the idea that it might explode, or the delicate buildings and or marionettes.
Let's look at the whitewashed buildings.
Against sheer black cliffs and sleek-bodied ships floated in the bright waters of the natural harbor. There was regular service of Aden to the Stone Town in Zanzibar.
Yes.
Which is the capital of the East African Omani Empire. The empire's reach extended all along the coast, but it was said that the British Empire was the true power behind the throne.
Probably.
Yeah. I had a modern Africa class that's...
Same. So did I. Shout-outs to Sylvie Koulibaly, one of my favorite professors.
You had Koulibaly? I had Vols.
Oh, yeah. Professor Koulibaly is fucking cool.
And
if you didn't take her class, or if you weren't paying attention in her class... You're fucking scum, and I'm calling you out right now. You should,
to do the most inside baseball, you should see if she wants to do any alumni like Zoom lectures like Bruce Hardy just did.
Ooh.
You should reach out and make that happen so I can watch them. I made a special effort to savor the feel of solid ground beneath my feet or the warm sun and clean air of the coast.
Let's do the warm sun and the clean air.
I think that's right. We would not be long before we were back aboard some contraption or another reeking of smoke and steam. You're not wrong.
Like in a cool way, though.
Yeah. And Stonetown seems we leave early in the morning. Yeah, 9 a.m. Let's see what our market can give. Oh, we were just here.
Yes.
See if the bank have anything for us. Monsieur Fogg looked up from his ledger. We are due a visit to the bank, I think. Regarded the bank as we entered.
I want to know about what an Aden bank looks like.
Small and somewhat squalid, it was hardly a befitting place for a gentleman. You wish to withdraw funds, we were told. I warn you, it may take some time. We don't want to take time. We have money.
Yeah.
Stepped out of the bank. Thankfully, our situation is not desperate, my master declared. Onwards. So now we are more aware.
Now we know how the bank works.
Uh-huh. I'd actually forgotten that. Before retiring,
we gotta afford him every service because
we're about to go on a pretty far.
Mm-hmm. For all we know, we might actually get attacked by fucking pirates too.
I love how the camera turns like this, so that way we see the long of the journey.
Yes.
I went to see a lecture in Denver one time about an artist. The boat that left Aden was a squat little steam vessel that looked like it had been pulled out of service from a war somewhere. Shell holes, or still by all accounts as a fixture?
Shell holes.
Precisely close to the waterline. Choice. We got to attend to Fogg.
Just give Fogg some pampering while we go so that you can tell the story.
Lol. Captain Carmichael had, I decided, been most likely driven mad by the sun, never wore a hat, and his boat had rust holes you could stick your thumb through.
I asked him how often the line ran.
His boats have been on the water every day for the last 17 years. Have you ever repaired her?
Yes.
Never been needed to. Famous last words, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
But it was an artist, and I think possibly also graphic designer, who was, of course, the swaying of the ship.
Yes.
Monsieur Fogg has been sleeping heavily too, for neither of us heard the ship's bell until much too late. I sat bolt upright. To hear rain and waves lashing out against the side of the boat we were rocking because we were in a storm.
Find the captain. This guy fucking rules.
Standing at the bridge, Rail barking orders to a man. Get below, fools, he declared on seeing us, and get out of my way before... Too late, a sharp gust of wind tore a panel off the smokestack and hit Monsieur Fogg on the side. We tried not to wince, but the pain was clear. I hurried him below.
Yeah, he's getting low.
By the time the storm passed, we were at a dead stop. It seemed the water had flooded the engine room and put out the boiler. It'll take at least a day to dry, the captain told me. Could be worse. We could have been in the drink. But this was an artist who drew some stuff, for example, for...
you can just sit on this menu while you tell the rest of this.
Basically like Cold War propaganda, or maybe World War II, I forget. Probably both, because the time frame. Where, for example, drew a map, sort of a section of a map that was from the perspective of Alaska towards Japan, sort of showing the proximity of the two.
I think I've heard of this.
I might have talked to you about this before, but like, you know, it's a propaganda tool of a map that is, you know, a correct perspective. It is a real perspective, but it is, you know, one heavily implying, look at how close and dangerous this is, as opposed to, you know, across the entirety of the Pacific.
There's actually an episode of The West Wing about, among other things, map drawing. Mm-hmm. There's I got some fucking beef with Aaron Sorkin, but I also think he is actually a good writer.
Yeah,
I'll fight you on that.
No, I get that and agree with it.
But there's an episode in every season of The West Wing where they talk about where they bring in like all of the small issues that people want to do, and one of them is a weirdo who comes in with the maps, but then at the end of the episode they're like, holy shit, we've been lying to people about the size of things for fucking decades now. We need to fix this now. The example I always give is that Greenland is fucking huge.
Yeah. Oh, Mercator.
Though also, I fucking love dunking on Europeans who think that England is large, or that anything in England is large.
Yeah.
Upsetting them is not only fun, but it's morally correct to do. Much like upsetting Elon Musk fans.
Yeah.
And crypto nerds. Often these are all three the same thing.
Don't say that. I won't be able to sell our Let's Play NFT now on, I don't know what on earth system you use to make or sell NFTs.
Congratulations to Elon Musk for getting kicked off SNL. I hope you drown.
Oh, he got kicked off?
Yeah.
This is fantastic news.
If only he gets bumped off. Anyway.
We arrived in Stonetown the next morning and stepped gratefully ashore. Boat sat in the harbor and listed sightly behind us.
The small matter of the Indian Ocean is extremely funny.
We will cross that, Fogg declared, when we come to it, and not before. Sage words, indeed.
It's fucking airship time, though.
It is.
We gotta sell that candle first, though.
We do. What orientation? We want to go to...
the fuck? Oh, there's
Quillamane.
Madagascar there.
Yeah. So we want to go to
that anywhere.
Quillamane, which will take us down to either Ulundi or Belmontfontaine.
That's some Dutch colonialism right there. I recognize that anywhere.
Market. Scented candle? Goodbye, scented candle. We're gonna need that. Salve of arnica. Rest and recuperation set. A healing salve for tired joints and bones.
Why do we need that?
So that way our rough journeys will be okay. And I don't want to buy a rhino horn.
Yeah.
Do we want to depart?
Yeah.
We want to go down.
Quillamane.
Please. Yes. Our frequent flyer cushion is doing us well already.
Really?
This is giving us less detriment. Captain Douala of the airship that bore us from Stonetown to Quillamane was a scarred older Bantu woman dressed in the Omani style. I was born a slave, she told us abruptly. If you do not wish to introduce yourselves to me, I will not be offended. I have no disrespect for slaves, or I would never slight a woman, so...
I have no idea how to not sound like a prick here.
I think...
have no disrespect for slaves.
I bowed my head just as I would any other person.
I say, making eye contact with Monsieur Fogg.
I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. Her dark eyes regarded me with faint approval, and I'm pleased to make yours, which is a greater surprise. Most of my passengers have no conception of manners. I was well taught by my mother, or I'm a Frenchman and hence naturally so gifted.
Let's do the first.
I said honestly, Captain Dwell's lips aligned to a small, powerful smile. She taught you well. I admit I felt a great pleasure at her words and missed dear Maman all the more.
Yeah, Maman. We need to pump up Fogg a little bit.
Pump up the fog.
Pump up the fog. Pump up the fog.
As the sun dipped below the ocean-hazed horizon, we reached the port of Colomane, which clutched the coast in a sprawl of pale municipal buildings and villas built in the Portuguese style.
Portuguese.
Mm-hmm. We should stay at the hotel. I'm going to quick dip in the market, see if there's anything. Geometry equipment. Interesting. Ooh, more of the rest and relaxation set. I want to keep that here.
Yeah.
European carriages. Don't need that. Heavy storm set seems like it could be pretty good and interesting if we're heading that way.
We need those African airships, though.
We do. And do we still need the wind scarf, though?
Not really. We're taking airships all the way here, so...
Yeah, I agree. No, we don't need the fresh tea. Compass. There we go.
Compass.
Have we been keeping to our item Ks?
I'm pretty sure.
The chattering insects mingled
No,
with the
we
smell
didn't.
of... What?
Neck pillow.
Damn it! Do I need to go sell the neck pillow?
I think we might.
That might be... Okay. I was a long way from home, and yet I felt most content. I forgot that we were doing the... Luckily, that's the only one.
My neck. My back.
Okay, we need to depart. No!
What?
I hit explore instead of depart because of my dang controller. Colomane was the official port of entry into the Zulu Federation, which spanned most of South Africa. Not only that, it is also these days called the African Amsterdam, or it looked over the ocean but had no boats.
African Amsterdam. Let's go. Let's stay on our fucking colonialism kick.
A nexus for the trade in diamonds, which brought unprecedented wealth to the Zulu Federation. 2 young tea plantation workers passed by, and I decided to greet the Indian girl in a dusty sari, or greet the half-Arab girl with a mop of curls, or move quickly along.
Let's greet the Indian girl in a dusty sari.
Who immediately giggled as I...
You make this call.
We were trying to be real gallant before, so let's go
right.
for the full flattery, kissing a hand, flashing a smile. Clearly, I had chosen the better target. I was about to allow myself a smile of satisfaction when I saw her companion eyes fix on me with a look that nearly scorched me. Such was its searing hatred.
Determine.
So utterly in such a short span, I followed her gaze to where her hand held fast on her companion's arm. She met my eyes challengingly and caressed the other girl's skin once very deliberately. So that was the way of it. The Indian girl giggled fetchingly again and gave her companion an exasperated if fond, "I'm Rameshi, sir. My rude friend is Rezai."
Reshmi.
Reshmi. I thought it was an A. They beckoned me to a nearby tea shop, and I set upon them and questioned about... Colomane?
Yeah.
The Portuguese had once had built the town as a slave port, but the Emperor Quechuayo had banned the taking of slaves when he had come to power and enforced compliance with terrible penalties. They say, Quechuayo is a sorcerer, Reshmi said. He can control automata with his mind. That sounds fanciful. I'd never heard of such a thing, or an able statesman, certainly.
An able statesman.
I replied, Setsuayo has been received in Queen Victoria's court only a few years previously. They're not just stories. The Zulu impi who's courting my auntie said so. Men will say many things to impress. Your aunt is courting a Zulu warrior? I queried, astonished. Are they not celibate? They can't marry, if that's what you mean, Razia said, with a sudden grin. Reshmi's auntie has him well under her thumb nonetheless. Reshmi tossed her head. Neither of you believe me, but that is what he told me, and he would know. I thanked them both for their help. I left them with a shake of my head.
Thank them for their help.
Yep. With great courtesy before I returned to Monsieur Fogg, unsure whether I had truly learned anything valuable about the sprawling Zulu Federation, whose borders we now stood.
Okay. Let's depart. This time for real.
To Ulundi?
I think we have... Ulundi doesn't actually connect. We have to go to Blumfontein.
Okay. Ulundi might also connect if we stay there.
Yeah, let's just explore there. You're right.
It's also coastal, so maybe we get... Or it's near coastal, at least.
Yeah, go down here, and then we can...
Look at that airship.
We can also... I was going to suggest that we set up the bank, like, say... You know, hey, we want to get some money out, and then use that time to explore, get more routes.
Yeah, I think that's a good go of it. The Shabby Melly was a rigid helium-filled metal balloon, an African-invented and produced form of air travel, made of thin interleaving layers of copper, or it seemed impossible.
That top one, I think.
And tin mined in Katanga and constructed by the Nyamwezi chieftains. Tend to Fogg.
Yeah, fog is getting low.
We were accompanied on our journey to Ulundi by the strange macabre sight of wheeling squadrons of wood and copper birds with diamond shards spinning in their hollow chests. Their eyes were bright. I was captivated by their beauty. Their purpose in the sky seemed clear enough.
I want to know what their purpose is.
We were being escorted, watched now that we were in Zulu airspace. The Zulu Federation crew waved and called out to them respectfully. I've never seen such automata, or why do you speak to them, or tell me what happens if they take a dislike to us.
Why do you speak to them?
Because they're emissaries of our emperor, one of the navigators explained, amused by my question. We must treat the emperor's automata with great deference.
I really like that, this is a world where technology has allowed for the weird expansion of perverse empires, but people are still finding their ways.
Yeah. The automata birds flew with us all night and escorted us right into the royal capital of Ulundi, scattering only as our engines stilled, and this time at least chose not to dive for our eyes.
I like the top one more.
We descended in a graceful arc.
Yeah, I also like it because it is so often like, oh, only this one country has steampunk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's such a sort of deeply cultured version of steampunk. We were escorted to an impromptu audience with Emperor Setsuayo with prejudicial rapidity. Of course, I greeted him
with courtesy. I was also going to point out, have you read Scott Westerfeld's Leviathan trilogy?
I adore those books.
Yes, it's that. It's the badass, incredible clockwork Turkish creatures.
Yeah.
And the super dope, like, nightmare monsters.
Yeah, I think there's a few things in here that we haven't gotten to, and one thing that I want to explore that I passed by on my first playthrough, but was too eager to try and sort of complete my 80 days to go and explore, that I think this gets to do some more things with it, because like you're saying with the Turkish clockwork, and especially then in the third book going to America.
And Tesla's fucking super weapons.
Yeah. The world building is based off of what if the difference between the two World War I powers was sort of what kind of technology system they used, rather than, strictly the weird alliance-based stuff.
Yeah. I do also love Leviathan because it was one of the first books I ever read where the main character was explicitly bi.
Yeah.
In a way that was extremely relatable, which was, God, that makes everything so much more convenient. No spoilers because people still need to read it.
It's very good and I would recommend them.
Yeah.
But like
the guy who did the art, just one more thing, the guy who did the art for Leviathan, Keith Thompson, I think, He does art for that tabletop RPG Numenera too.
Oh. His art is fantastic. But, like,
Yeah.
you can see how, because you visit these sort of other outside of European locales after being in Central Europe for a while, like, it feels like it is built off of sort of those European frameworks, as opposed to what I think this does a lot of work towards, is trying to show, oh no, those birds aren't, like, modeled after something that's in Europe already. Those are sort of ground up, built from here, right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't think we've gotten to the full extent of it in this playthrough.
Yeah. The Dishonored games are very like that too. When you go to Dishonored, when you play Dishonored 2, you're in Serkonos, which is like Greece, as opposed to Dunwall, which is very English. Somebody described, I think fucking Yahtzee Croshaw described the original Dishonored as if the Combine from Half-Life 2 invaded Victorian England. And Serkonos is very modern, very 1920s, very Art Deco by comparison. It's not the fruits of the Empire bringing their technology to us. It's us fucking figuring our own shit out.
Yeah. So
We are travelers, Your Imperial Majesty.
not letting Fogg answer. I like it. I glanced at my master, who looked tight-lipped at my presumption. We seek passage through your lands. There are ships from Quelaman to Blom. That's too. That's too Boer for me. He replied. You did not need to set a single foot in my land. Aid or did not realize.
Aid?
I think Aid is more respectful than we did not realize.
Yeah.
Just gonna put that out there. Because even though it's a little true, we came in hope from aid from the Zulu Federation. I replied, we are looking for the fastest way around the world. Around the world, the Emperor echoed with evident curiosity. He span a finger in the air. All the way around? That is our aim, or indeed so, Your Majesty.
Indeed so, Your Majesty.
He seemed delighted by the idea. Very good. I suppose it could be done. And this is how far you have got?
I like how it says that he spun a finger in the air, but it doesn't say what direction he spun it, so our strategy can still be possible.
Absolutely.
Is it?
When I did my North Pole run, I did what looks like taking a quarter slice out of the globe, but it counted.
Okay.
How far have you gotten? And this is how far you've gotten. Either I nodded, or we hope to make good progress from here.
We hope to make good progress from here sounds like flattering.
I replied. Setsuayo nodded, his tone shifting a little. An interesting tale. Quite suddenly, a bright light was shining into my face. Squinting upwards, I covered my eyes. I waited motionless. I think motionless.
Yeah.
Understanding that I was being tested. The light came from the eye of a bird of prey automaton. It hovered just before my face, or perhaps a minute. For perhaps a minute. Then it wheeled back to the dais to perch on Emperor Setsuayo's shoulder. It seemed to speak in the Emperor's ear. He nodded. I waited for the verdict. What does your bird say? Or the man was pretending to listen to Autumn. I waited for the verdict. Yeah?
Yeah. There's a lot of options to be kind of racist.
Yeah. Becca says you're telling the truth. Setsuayo announced. Clearly the man was quite mad. Had the bird said any such thing? Could the bird read minds? Did it share the sorcery of its master?
I like the third.
I do too, because it does feel very much the neutral form of sorcery.
Yes.
The small palace seemed suddenly a place of great danger, as though the mat-strewn floor was tiled with traps. Emperor Setsuayo fixed me with a look. You look to me, he said, like nothing so much as a performing monkey. Tell me, what is your purpose? He pointed at my master. You carry his bags and fasten his buttons? Either I tend to his person, yes, your Imperial Majesty, or sometimes I choose our route.
Sometimes. Come on, do the third, yes.
Sometimes I choose our route. Monsieur Fogg glanced at me as I said this, seeming rather surprised. The Emperor thought a moment, then he shook his head. I have heard of this personal service before, of course, but I still do not understand it. Be a slave, a subject, or be free.
I am quite free.
Love to...
Well, is it only these two?
It's only these two.
I was gonna say, there's been a lot of conversation about how indentured servitude and even employment is not literal slavery.
Yeah, I think this one's interesting because also there's the way in which we've been playing this Passport 2 as someone who's a little bit, down for the adventure. And, maybe somebody who, might have left the employ of for a less eccentric master had the eccentricism gone too much. But I think I am quite free is also a little much. Yeah. I'm willing to lose a little bit of respect with Fogg if we get out of here with an understanding with the Zulu emperor. Does that sound fair? If you're talking to me, I cannot hear you.
So, I mean, what I was saying was, how do you say you like your job without sounding like a bootlicker? Especially in an RPG where there are capital R routes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been telling you about how I've been playing Disco Elysium. I literally ran into a dialogue option where one of my fucking skills told me to say one of these fascist or communist things or fuck off. And more to the point, I am quite free is not the conversation I want to have, which is don't call you're belittling slaves by comparing them to my job.
Yeah, I think that's I agree with that sentiment. I think Yes, Your Majesty is the most full thing here, because if we are free as much as I think us to understand, wage labor to a extractive capitalist colonial nation like Britain, the degrees of freedom.
Starvation is just as much of a gun to the head as any other.
I think saying Yes, Your Majesty here demonstrates and it sort of demonstrates the degree of freedom that I think Passport 2 would have and that we have of
Yes.
the situation here.
This is the conversation I like out of IF games.
I should not complain of your vanities, he said at length. It is what will make your people easy to defeat in the end, despite your iron and your guns. I shuddered at his ominous prophecy, an empty threat, surely, or you will never defeat the British Empire.
Sadly, I cannot dropkick Fogg and say, hell yeah, brother.
I think an empty threat, surely, is the most internal of these responses.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think that's interesting in showing the ways in which, as... I think trying to be non-colonial as we can be in this.
Yeah, Diego, I'm playing a video game where I'm a fucking cop communist. I understand this. Disco Elysium is not nearly as centrist as some people want you to believe, though, and I would love to play it with you, or you should get it on Switch when it comes out.
Is it going to Switch?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Had he some secret weapon is some baller shit.
Yeah.
Are there any more games in this setting?
I don't know. I should investigate that. I know that these folks made another game on Switch that I am dying to play. It's an archaeology-based game, if that tells you anything.
Yeah.
So I have no clue if it's in
Heaven's Vault?
Yeah.
I heard about that one. Which is cooler?
Well, we've seen birds.
Yeah.
We haven't seen cats.
You do know what a polecats are, what a polecat is, right? They're skunks, I'm pretty sure. We got to do honey badgers.
Why? Where's this? Okay, never mind. Okay.
Oh, polecats are ferrets.
I love ferrets.
Yeah.
In the shape of slant-eyed polecats, impala. You gotta go impala.
I was gonna say honey badgers, but
We'll go honey badgers.
yeah. Jackals.
Yeah. Jackals is just such a good word.
Yeah.
And even little darting lizards, all were fluttering and slinking and pacing around him. He turned to look at me, and every single automaton turned its head in unison with him. Please, he gestured, try to run. We had been an acrobat!
Do it!
But my response, however quick, did no good. In a single moment, 100 creatures of metal and glass were upon me, talons and claws raised, beaks poised to strike at my eyes and flesh. I heard my master call out, and I raised my hands to try and cover myself, or I screamed for mercy.
The top.
As every creature froze in place, the Emperor laughed. I understood then that he truly had some kind of terrible power. I could imagine such an army of creatures, or warriors, or mere animate weaponry sweeping around the landscape. But Set Shuayo was not done with us yet. Leaning forward, he removed his headband and inclined his face to the right. On the side of his head, I saw an incision mark, and the glittering edge of a diamond automaton shard embedded deep in his brain. What have you done to yourself?
Fascination. That's raw as hell.
And I like that it's diamond too, the same thing that is the extractive sort of material being used as the tool of power. Emperor Sechuayo ignored my question and said, only I show you this as a warning. Tell your princes and kings, tell your eager tradesmen and grasping missionaries, tell them I protect this land and I will drink their blood if they try to take it.
Fuck yes.
I remembered his message.
Fogg.
Yeah?
Yeah, I want to know.
Who looked admirably stoic in the face of a manic emperor and a lambent-eyed automaton army.
Fuck yeah.
Then the moment passed. The emperor glanced up to an enormous airship far above us, and immediately it began to descend towards us. Now the emperor declared, where do you wish to go on your journey around the world? I think... No, Biahi is what's next to us. Antananaravi... I don't know where these are.
Let's do wherever is fastest.
Yeah? But that might take us...
I'm going to look up what Antananarivo is.
I like that name, and I wish I knew the cadence with which to say it. Antananarivo?
It is in Madagascar.
Okay,
like.
So I think Antananarivo is, the middle Madagascar one. Biahi is the one that's just to our west.
Let me look that up.
I'm going to say wherever's the fastest, because I think both of those could airship us south. So I'll say wherever's the fastest. Ship will take you to the southern reaches of my land, and that is the last he said to us. We boarded the craft and began to make ready.
Baiae is in South Africa.
Okay, cool. Relations with Fogg have deteriorated slightly. Your character is now superior! Yes! Look at that. See? That's where we wanted. Should we sleep or depart? I think we should sleep.
Yes.
Night came and went, and we spent it aboard the airship. We should depart.
I am really glad we came here.
Yeah, and we'll head to our next spot.
Because of the K challenge.
Yeah, next time on Let's Play.